In this video we're going to be looking at what a wireframe is when it comes to web design, and we're also going to go through practice coursework as well. I'm going to walk you through what to do step by step. So yeah, basically what I just said, we're going to look at what a wireframe is. So a wireframe is a blueprint of a web page, essentially. The idea is that if you have a clear design, then implementing it, coding it, will be far easier. So you might remember when we did it, before it came under the software section, when we talked about the analysis, then design stage, then the implementation stage, and we said back then that having a clear design will give you will make an easier implementation. The same applies for web design. So if you know what to do, you're not just making it up from scratch, your life is going to be easier. So the point of this video is to make you understand this, to help you understand this, to make your life easier. And I've also got a cheat sheet in a second, I'll show you. A wireframe is considered a low fidelity prototype. That's a posh way of saying it's a simple design that's easy, cheap and quick to make. I mean, this is done on a computer, but you could do it with a bit of pen and paper as well. You do need to be able to draw a wireframe as well as read it. We're not going to sorry, that was my cat destroying something. I don't know if my mic picked that up or not. Right, we're not going to draw it right now, but we will be looking at how to read them, and then once you can read them, they're very easy to draw because you've got a step-by-step guide as well. So what I've got in the next few slides is a bunch of images which you will see or might see in the design, and then the code that corresponds with it. So when you see the design, when you see this, this is actually the design we're following. You just need to look at, oh, there's an image, and then you think, oh, I forgot how to do an image. Just copy and paste this. It does say the size, so there's the version with a size. Just copy and paste this, change a couple things. That's all you've got to do. The coursework will be open book as well, so you can look back at this. Audio, that's what the audio will look like. I have a little play button. I'm assuming it's called audio.mp3. Obviously it'll be a different name, so you just have to copy and paste this, change the name. Same with video, copy and paste this, change the name. It might specify the size in a wireframe file, so that's how you do it with a different size. Headings, well, the heading's easy, you just do an H1. Assume it's an H1 unless it says otherwise, right? Or unless you need to have multiple headings that you need to change the CSS of. Just assume it's an H1 unless something else says it isn't. An ordered list, it might look two ways. It might just be a box that says ordered list, or it might look like this, which is what it will look like on the page as well. Either way, this is how you do it. You have the OL tag, stands for ordered list. This stands for list item. And then you close off the OL around it, and it will turn all the list items into ones, twos, and so on. Unordered list is exactly the same thing, except instead of numbers, we now have bullet points, and instead of O for ordered, we have U for unordered. Links, there's the two different ways. If it's a hyperlink to another site, just you copy like the HTTP bit as well, and the .com and that. If it's just your page, you just do .html. You just copy and paste that. The title, make sure to not overlook this. In the design in the wireframe, it will have a box like this, and then it will have the title will be hidden up here. So because that's what it'll look like if you open a new tab. So just remember, you have to add the title. That is worth a mark. Just putting that in there. Or this bit, should I say. Remember, this goes in the head of the website. It doesn't go in the body of the website. Divisions. If you see a box, it's going to be a division. Now, there's two types of divisions. So if you hopefully remember, but just in case, we'll revisit it. and it is IDs and classes. IDs is when it's a unique division, so in other words, it doesn't share CSS, so it will have something pointing to it, and it will have something just pointing to that box, and then it will be considered, you'd better use an ID, and then you just give it a name. I've just said the name is called top, because we used that in a previous example. You might also say there was it was two arrows pointing to these, so we know it was shared CSS. I've got examples of that in a minute. You'd write class instead, because they're sharing a set of rules with one another. Here is how it will write out the CSS, so it will just point to something, and then you need to remember that whatever, so it's pointing to a heading in this example, so I've wrote H1 and then all 5 rules, and then you might not need all 5 rules, you might only need like 2 or 3 or whatever, but there's an example with all 5, so you can just in the coursework you can just copy and paste this bit, and all you need to do is change this bit here, and then change this and so on. Notice that this says pixel. It can be pixel, but it can also be point, so px or pt. Just pay careful attention to that. It's an easy mistake to make. Also, the spelling of center here, I'll minimize my face. So center is, well, this is how it'll be spelled in the coursework, but this is how you need to spell it in the code, right? So don't fall into that trap either. What was I saying? Oh, ID divisions, right? This is how you do it for it. Like I said, if it was unique, as I was blabbing on about earlier, if it's unique, you would just give it a name. I've called it top again, and I've called it ID here. Remember the hashtag. Do not forget that, or it won't work. But if it was shared, then you write class instead, and then this is an example of your 2 classes. Obviously there'd be stuff in between here, and then you have to put whatever the name is, you put a dot in front of it. Again, if you don't put the dot in front of it, it won't work. And notice how this one is 18 pt and this one is 24 px, so be careful about that as well. This last bit isn't anything to do with wireframes, but I just thought, since I'm making a cheat sheet, I would include it, and it'll make doing the practice coursework easier. So if it says internal CSS, you need to write these style tags in the head of the website. There it is there, and then the CSS we were just covering, this stuff, you would just put that, plonk it all into there. External CSS, if you remember, that is when you've got a separate file, so you'll need to make the separate file, or if you're using REPL, I think a lot of the time in REPL it just gives you the separate file anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. But the link, I can never remember this, just copy and paste this link exactly as it is, and as long as your sheet is called style.css, you don't have to change a single thing. And also remember, this goes in the head of the web page as well, and then you would start putting your CSS there. So that's my cheat sheet. I would honestly just recommend having this PowerPoint open, like alongside doing the practice coursework and the real coursework when the time comes actually. So I'm gonna walk you through how to do the first practice coursework, and hopefully show you that it's not too intimidating. So I'm gonna go to REPL, and if you go to the Teams tab and then National 4.5 Computing, and then scroll down to the bottom, and it's 9.1 wireframes we're looking at. Now I'm going to open a separate tab so I don't change any of the answers, but it'll look exactly the same as this. So you've got the basic template that every website has, and nothing happens right now. We've got a style page, so that's where we're going to be writing our CSS, so it's going to be external CSS. And then we've got the wireframe. That's the same one that's in the PowerPoint. We're going to be following that step by, like, just take one thing at a time and finish the website that way. Let's have a look at the task. So this is actually, well, you've opened up here. This is actually a practice coursework that SQA posted a few years ago. The audio file is a bit weird. Have I forgot to add the audio file? Yeah, I have. What an idiot. You know what, we'll just change this version of it, and then I'll change it back after. Yeah, so there is an audio file as well. I didn't make it, honest. I think it's the guy, so it's this is what the page is meant to look like. It's not the prettiest page, but it's meant to be a page about the pupil of the month, and I think who made this, he's doing an impression of a pupil, but I'll let you listen to that yourself. Anyway, here's the task. So a wireframe design of the new page, annotated with required styles, is shown in wireframe.jpg. As I was saying, that's this bit here. You have been given the following two files: winning pupil photo, so we've got that, and pupil interview, and we've got that as well. Implement the above design using HTML and an external CSS style sheet. External is in bold, so you know it's going to be a separate page in here. So let's just start from the top, really. I would do CSS last if I was you. I would get all the HTML done first, and then I would go back to CSS. So where is the wireframe? Right, so it says Woodline Academy Pupil of the Month page, so don't forget about that. So if you go here and you go Woodline Academy Pupil of the Month page, and then if we go have another look at it, that's the first bit, easy marks. Does it just say school name at the top? Okay, well, we actually meant to write Woodline Academy. Yeah, I think you should just write school name. We'll just write school name anyway. So there's a heading. So remember, the heading is H1, and you just write school name, and remember to close it. Again, we'll do the CSS after, so don't worry about that now. There is another heading called month, and another heading called pupil name. You know what? So we'll add H1, and we'll just write month. Do they share CSS? Yeah, what'll probably be easier, so don't make it H1, sorry, because we want to just make our life easier, so you don't have to add IDs or anything. Just make this H2, and we're going to make the H1 later say be one set of colors and sizes in that, and the H2's another set. So we've got month, and then we've got H2, and then we've got pupil name. Right, there is an image in between month, so there it is. Now let's make our life easier. If you open up the PowerPoint, I said, well, there's the image. Just Control C, and then Control V. Something weird has happened with the quotes photo, so be careful with that. That's not going to work. I think you're going to have to delete the quotes and then add them in again. The ones that have went, yeah, I don't know what's happened there. Now that's not the right size or the right image name. Our image is called winningpupilphoto.jpg. Winningpupilphoto.jpg. Remember, it might not be a JPEG, it might be a PNG or something like that. So if this said .png, you would change this bit as well. Then we change the width and the height to match the wireframe, 200 by 250. Okay, so the width is 200. The width always comes first, and then the height is 250. Okay, let's have a look at our page right now. So we run it. We've got the name. We've got the month. We've got that as well. Okay, so far so good. The audio is next. Now, let's make our life easy. Copy and paste from the audio slide. Underneath pupil name. Okay, so it's not called audio, it's called pupil interview. Pupil interview. Let's run that. Make sure it works. It's not working. Try opening in a new tab. Right. I'm not sure why that's not working. You know what it is? I think it's because I'm editing the assignment. I don't think it's going to work. But if you... Is that... No, you know what? It's not that. I'm speaking rubbish. It's this. Again, there's something wrong with the quotes. I'll try and fix that in the PowerPoint before I publish this video, so it'll be easier for you. But make sure that goes yellow. Now run that, and the sound is playing. Right. Wireframe. So we've got that. I think that's the HTML part of it done. We've got the structure, we've got the picture, we've got the image. It's done. Now we need to do CSS. So remember, it is external CSS. It said in the task that is here, external CSS. And I can't remember how to do that. I'm not just saying that, I actually can't remember. I can't remember off by heart how to do the external link. You don't need to remember this bit off by heart or anything. So I'm just gonna steal it. Sorry, my camera looks like it's having an earthquake, but I promise it's just my cat behind the webcam. So yeah, we're going to copy this, put that underneath the title. I think the quotes are okay with this one. Yeah, it looks alright. And then we're going to go to style.css, and then we're going to start changing things. So in Wireframe, we need the H1 to have Tahoma font, 16-point text size, and a text alignment of centered. Actually, before that, page background color is just blue. Everything needs to be that awful shade of blue. So let's do that bit first because it's easier. So we'll do body, and then it's just background color. Remember, American spelling, blue. And I'll indent that because it's irritating me. Run it. Everything's an awful shade of blue. Right, now let's have a look at the school name, the H1 we're going to change. Again, you know what, let's make our life easier. Let's look at the cheat sheet, and we'll copy this. We don't have to change the H1 bit because it's already H1. Right, so let's put that underneath. H1, it was Tahoma font. I believe it was 18 pixels, but I'll double check. Wireframe. I just made that up. It is 16 point. So 16 point, and it is also centered. Well, we've already got that. It means we don't need background color or color, so you can delete that. Wait, is it not meant to be white? Oh no, it's meant to be black, the top bit. Okay. Yeah, so you can delete these two. We don't need them. Run it. Right. So far, so good. It's right in the middle. Let's do the H2s next. Let's do the other set of headings. So we're gonna. You can copy from the slide, or you can just copy this bit. It's up to you. H2. Now text align, if it doesn't say, I don't think it does say, you can write left if you want, but I don't think it says, no it doesn't, so just leave it as default. But if you, it's up, I mean you can, if you really want to, you can write left, it'll make absolutely no difference. But I'm just going to delete that, we don't need it. The font was 14 point. 14 point. The font family was also Tahoma, so that stays the same, but the text color was white. Now, a very common mistake, like you see text color written like that, they always do this, right? I think it's just to test you. I'm not the wrong bit. I see so many people write text color, and then you write white. It won't work. It's not, text color isn't a thing. Nothing changes. It's just color, just color with no U as well. If you forget that, look at the cheat sheet. It's all there. It says text color there, but you need to write it as color. Just don't fall for that trap. Right, now it's got white text. Are we done? We're done. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That is the first one. So open up there. What a lovely website. So blue. Now the next one, I'm not gonna go over it step by step, but the second task, right, is a little bit, it looks trickier, but there's some bits are easier in that there's divisions, right, but they're being nice, and the CSS, if you read the task, the CSS is internal, so you don't have to do the external link. Instead, you just write the style tags at the top of the program, and then you write your CSS in there instead. But you do have to do the divisions. Now notice that the divisions have different background colors. Your website actually has I haven't included the image, I'll need to add that in the finished page image, but anyway, the divisions have different background colors, which means these are both going to be IDs. They're not going to be classes because they don't share anything with one another. They're going to be IDs. But if you used the cheat sheet, I'm sure you'll be able to get through it no problem. Right, thank you very much for watching.